Have you ever noticed how you and your partner tend to have the same argument over and over again, and the solution seems to be the same time and time again, and nothing ever really changes? It could be your attachment style. Hi, in this video I'm going to share with you my take on the 4 main attachment styles. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mamie. I am a conscious success coach helping you gain more understanding of yourself and as a result live your life freely and happier. This is a place where you will learn everything about relationships, law of attraction, a bit of psychology, and expanding your consciousness with mindfulness techniques. Today we're talking again about relationships. The attachment style helps us in so many ways to find the ideal partner for ourselves. But as I always say, self-awareness is the #1 thing you need to start with. Because when you know what you are packing, what you are offering, you know what to look for in your partner. This is a video for you if you are in a long-term relationship and you've hit a roadblock and you want to understand what is going on in this relationship, or you are starting out and you're fearful of relationships, or you're starting out dating and wondering who's the best partner for you. This is something for you, so stay tuned. If you've been on my channel before, you will know that I don't only teach you from things that I've read in books or studied and just regurgitate them back to you. I actually teach you from my own experience. I have been married before, I have been in countless relationships, and as well I have made it my life's mission to learn about relationships and creating intimacy for long-lasting relationships. The first attachment style is in psychology is the anxious type. You could see it in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be psychology. I use the word psychology because it just gives it a bit of a frame and an understanding to it. But when you are in the relationship, you don't have to worry about all these words and anxious and whatnot. It's not important. What's important is what is actually happening in your relationship, what you can pay attention to and work on. The anxious type is someone who worries a lot, romanticizes everything, and tends to be a bit more paranoid in the relationship, has less trust in the relationship, doesn't trust the partner, wants more attention, always needing validation, a bit melodramatic as well. Does this sound like something that you recognize in you or your partner? You have to ask yourself that question. And these people tend to be a bit clingy in the relationship. They want you to constantly be there to validate them. The anxious one wants to talk about things, wants to know why, wants you to explain things, wants to understand a bit more. They may not have the best way of expressing themselves either because they've become anxious. They might be even afraid to ask because maybe their partner is a different style of attachment, which I'll talk about in a little bit. These attachment styles work together. So sometimes you tend to have 2 attachments that don't really work well together and they are in a relationship together, and that will cause that friction. So this one is clingy, wants to know what's going on, wants you to baby them, essentially. This one does not want to be bothered at all. You leave them alone. They want to keep everything they feel inside themselves, and whatever you feel, they just don't want to deal with it. Very distant, very independent. It's not in the kindest of ways. It's very negligent of the other person. So the anxious one, for example, is needy. This one is just avoidant. It's just leave me alone. I can't deal with you right now. Too much of you. I need to be on my own. Let me know if you recognize yourself in this one down in the comments below. These people tend to pull away when it gets too much, when it gets too emotional, when the anxious one, for example, is needing stuff from them. even if they're not with an anxious person, with a different type, which I'll mention later, they will still push people away, because what they're doing here is creating that drama so that they can then feel that they're needed. They don't want to be needed too much, but they enjoy that sort of chase. They sort of enjoy being chased. They like the independence, but at the same time they don't, because without being chased, they are nothing. That makes any sense. They shut down emotionally, they're emotionally unavailable. They will never share with you how they feel. They would always say to you, you are too needy, you are too much for me. You want to talk about everything, you cry all the time, you want too much from me. I can't give you examples now, that you can come up with those examples yourself in your relationship, but that is what essentially the avoidant type is all about. He or she is very detached in the way they are in the relationship. This is one of my favorite ones. I love relationships and I want to have a functional relationship. So I'm always aspiring to be more secure in the relationship, first of all within myself and then within the relationship. This secure attachment style is somebody who knows what they want. They know who they are in the relationship. They are headstrong. They can see clearly the bigger picture. They can see what their partner is going through, because why? They know what's going on within themselves. They are satisfied with who they are. They're satisfied with what they're bringing into the relationship. They show up as themselves. They own up to who they are, as opposed to the previous two. The avoidant one will never show up as themselves. Not necessarily that they lie, but they will not own up to the wrong that they do, for example, because they want to have the upper hand in the relationship and they want to be the one that is never wrong, and you have to apologize to them. This secure type is just so content within themselves, and they will easily help their partner as well, but they will not help them in a way that they baby them like an anxious one might do. An anxious one might, take care of their partner way too much than they need to. The secure one will point things out and say, look, this is where you're going wrong, this is what's happening, and this is what we both need to do. So they will actually stand up and say, this is what I've done, this is the wrong that I've done, maybe you should tell me what you've done so that we can try and fix things, right? So they're not going to just point a finger at you, they're also going to point the other finger at themselves. This one for me, I find that the way it manifests itself in a person is through being disorganized in their thoughts. Nothing makes sense to them in the relationship. They also need a lot of attention, just like the anxious type. They pull away and then come back in full force. So there's a lot of drama here as well. They also need reassurance. This one is a very, very moody kind of energy here. It's very unpredictable. It's very unsettled. It's one moment this, the next that. The anxious one might stick with the same thing for a while. They might complain about the same stuff for a while. They won't switch right away. But this fearful one, imagine when you're fearful, you're very unpredictable, because fear, it's something that's in you that makes you feel, oh God, what's going to happen? If you are witnessing somebody like this in your relationship, or if you think you may be like this, you will be a bit unpredictable. If you find that you are being a bit more unpredictable in your relationship, you may be fearful that the relationship is ending constantly. So you might swing from being super afraid of things, overly afraid, to over-analyzing one tiny little thing. Basically, this person always seems so overwhelmed by everything. If something gets said to them, they just, it's all overwhelming. It's too much, for them. They can't handle their own emotions. It's very, very also emotionally, and I don't want to say unavailable, because the avoidant type is the one that's emotionally not there. They just shut off. They don't shut off. They feel too much, feel too little, and then feel a lot, and then feel nothing, and then it's all over the place. So let me know if you recognize yourself in this one down in the comments below. Right, so there you have it. Those are the 4 main attachment styles. I mean, there's so many other different ones. That's what psychology tells you. I just basically look at my relationship and my relationships and you know, the clients that I work with. So thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't done that already. I really appreciate that, and I will see you in my next video. Love and light to you. Mwah. Bye.